Hi everyone. In July, households in the town of Bassendean will be getting a new third bin. And I just want to give you some of the basics about what should go in which bin. So we all want to do the right thing. We want to make sure that what can be recycled is recycled. We want to make sure we're not contaminating our waste and increasing the processing cost to our community. But I'm sure we've all had that experience where sometimes you're standing at the bin with an item in your hand and you're not quite sure which one you should put it in. So I want to try and clarify some of that for you now. So each household will now have a new lime green lidded FOGO bin. So FOGO is for food organics and garden organics. So basically anything that has grown. So that's things like your garden prunings, your food scraps from the kitchen, kitty litter, and even your pet droppings can go in there. And things like old pizza boxes that have been soaked with oil or have got food scraps in them, which then can't go in your recycling bin. They can all go into your new FOGO bin. Now the contents of that bin will go up to Red Hill. It'll be processed and turned into compost, which we can then use on our parks and reserves here in the town of Bassendean. But it's really important that we don't contaminate it with plastic bags. So to avoid the temptation of putting your food scraps into plastic bags, we're going to be providing all households with these compostable caddy liners, which means you can just put your food scraps directly into the liner and then pop it into your FOGO bin. And there's no need for plastic bags, which is just going to make it much more expensive for us as a community. So that's our FOGO bin. Our yellow litter bin is still our recycling bin. Now this is probably the one that is the most confusing for people, and in the past it has been quite confusing with different rules for different areas throughout the city. A couple of years ago, all of the waste contractors got together and they've now come up with a consistent set of rules for what can go into your recycling bin. So it's not only important to put the right materials in there, so things like your plastic bottles, your tins, paper, glass into your recycling bin. It's also important that they've been rinsed so they're clean and that they get put in loosely. Things like your bottles, you need to remove the plastic lids. They can't be recycled at the recycling facility, so they either need to go into your red lidded general waste bin or taken somewhere like the Wasteless Pantry or Greenbatch, which collect the plastic lids to be recycled. These things then go directly into your recycling bin, not in a plastic bag. If it's in a plastic bag, it won't be able to be recycled. So at the moment, about 86% of what goes into our yellow bin is recycled. The other 14% is due to either people putting incorrect materials into that bin or putting it in a plastic bag and unable to be sorted at the facility. So I know a lot of people have expressed concerns about whether or not the contents of their recycling bin is actually recycled. Our waste contractor tenders out each type of material to the highest bidder. Some of it ends up overseas to be processed and some of it remains here in Australia and even in Perth for processing. Some people say that they don't have enough room in their recycling bin. If that's you, please get in contact with the town's waste staff. They'll be happy to work with you through that. There's also the container deposit scheme that's being introduced to WA later this year, which will mean some of those drink containers that are currently going to recycle bin can be taken to a container deposit scheme collection point, get a refund for those, and it will also free up some space in your recycling bin. The general rule with your recycling bin though is if in doubt, leave it out. So if you're not sure about something, instead of putting it into your recycling bin and potentially contaminating it, instead put it into the general waste bin. Now the general waste bin will now have a red lid and everything that goes into this bin will be going to landfill. So we want to reduce as much as possible what we're putting into this bin. We're taking out the FOGO material now in our recycling, so if we're sorting correctly there should be very little to go in here. Just the things that can't be recycled in our curbside collection. Things like nappies, polystyrene, broken toys go in here. We still can't put hazardous waste and electrical items in. They need their to be recycled through specialist centres, but only the leftovers go in here. If you have concerns about the capacity of your bin, please contact the town's waste staff. There are some things that go in here like your soft plastics, which can't be recycled through your yellow lidded recycling bin, but can be recycled elsewhere. So for example, you can take your soft plastics to a red cycle centre, such as at our local Coles, and instead of them going to landfill, they will be recycled, which is a much preferable outcome. So if you do have any queries, please contact our waste staff. They're very happy to help. We have an online session coming up in the next couple of weeks for anyone who would like some more advice about what specifically you can put in which bin. There's also a fantastic website and app called Recycle Right. The link is in this post, and you can look up specific items to make sure that you're putting them in the right bin and be confident that you're doing the correct thing. So thank you everybody for your willingness to give this new system a go. I think it's going to deliver some great outcomes for our community and save us costs and be a great, have some great outcomes for our environment. It will take a bit of getting used to, but I'm sure as it becomes part of our normal daily routine, we'll see some great outcomes for our community.